I'll do anything you say if you can solve this." With that, Nancy, the head of the department, shoved a math problem in my face that had a 2% success rate in a past Harvard University's entrance exam. She always looks down on me, thinking I'm just a high school graduate. "If you can't solve it, you have to quit the company." The room, lively from the holiday party, fell silent for a moment. Then murmurs filled the air. Even the president, who took a chance on hiring me, looked at me with worried eyes. But my mind was already made up. "Boss, I'm not running away today." Yes, I'm finally revealing my true self, which I've kept hidden until now. My name is Christopher Jones, 40 years old. I work in the sales department of a small company that manufactures and sells medical equipment. I joined the company a year and a half ago. Before that, I was a researcher at a lab at Harvard University, but I left because I couldn't get the results I wanted. Normally, I should have applied for a corporate research position and used my experience properly. But at that time, I was burned out as a researcher. I was in my late 30s. After closing the door on my career as a researcher and finding myself jobless, it was my uncle, the president of the company where I now work, who extended a helping hand. Unlike my parents, who always pressured me to study, he had a generous personality. He didn't blame me for wasting all my past efforts. Instead, he offered me kind words. "Christopher, you did well. I can't offer the rewards of a big company, but how about starting fresh and working at our company? You're diligent and hardworking. Everyone here will welcome you warmly." His words touched my heart as I was feeling down from what I considered a life failure. I decided to repay that trust and dedicate the rest of my life to working for my uncle. No, for the president. But having spent my entire life holed up in a university doing research, the job of a salesperson was an unknown territory for me, especially since I'm terribly bad at socializing. Unlike my colleagues, I couldn't joke and chat easily with strangers. Even when I went on sales calls, the best I could do was nod along stiffly, listening to my senior and the client talk. Despite that, my seniors patiently guided me. Their warmth surprised me, because I never experienced it in the university lab. I had a few younger students who looked up to me, but relationships with colleagues and seniors were always tense. That's because we were rivals. In my rush to produce research results, I had no room to consider others' feelings. Every time my seniors kindly taught me something, I felt grateful and said, "Thank you very much." In the company, my actions earned me the nickname, Weeping Christopher. With everyone's support, I started my second life, but, as the saying goes, out of the frying pan, into the fire. New challenges arose. This started with Nancy, who recently became the new head of the sales department. At 33, she graduated from a prestigious women's college and is highly talented. She was very proud and strict with her subordinates. Additionally, she had a special aura of authority, being the daughter of a senior who once helped the president. "Nancy is tough and works us hard, don't you think?" This was said to me by Charles, a colleague who joined the company around the same time as me. But he's still in his 20s, a young man with a bright future ahead of him. Compared to someone like me, who has already had one career end, he's full of energy and drive. However, one day, that drive backfired. Charles rebelled against something Nancy said and got on her bad side. Since then, under her orders, Charles was no longer allowed to go on client visits and was stuck doing menial tasks around the office. This would ruin Charles's future. I was worried about him, but none of the seniors could confront Nancy. And for good reason, they all had families to support. If they got on her bad side, their families might end up in a tough spot. So, as a single man, I thought it was my duty to talk to her directly. She's an educated person, so if I speak from the heart, surely she'll understand. But I soon realized how naive that was. "Excuse me, who do you think you are?" Those were the words I received when I begged, Weeping Christopher, and pleaded with her. She continued in a harsh tone. I heard you're just a high school graduate, and you got this job through personal connections. Someone like you shouldn't be giving me opinions. By the way, my time at Harvard University's lab was kept secret. I didn't want people to treat me differently because of my educational background. I pretended to be a high school graduate who bounced from job to job. It was a bit of a pretentious cover for someone with my limited real-world experience. Once you're out in society, your academic background doesn't matter. I've realized this since starting my current job. If you work hard, you'll be recognized, and obviously, clients never ask about your education. Especially in sales, life experience is what counts. Listening to my seniors, they're witty and in-joking. Someone like me, who spent all his time in a lab, could never speak as skillfully as they do. But now, I'm being confronted about my academic background. It's true, I only graduated high school. But saying that a high school grad shouldn't express opinions is a bit extreme. Even students speak up if they think something's wrong. Opinions should naturally come from below, don't you think? Nancy's face tightened at my question, like a professor being corrected by a student. But the next moment, she forced a creepy smile. Christopher, you sure are articulate. No wonder the president took you in. Without a degree, you have to compensate with other skills. Fine, Charles can go back to his regular duties, but you will take on the chores. This isn't a suggestion, it's an order. I felt relieved that Charles's bright future was back on track. And I agreed to Nancy's order. Starting the next day, I was used as her errand boy. I was like her personal assistant, making coffee, polishing shoes, and sometimes even running personal errands. Charles felt bad for me, but I responded harshly. Don't worry about me. Focus on your own work. You only live once. I thought it was ironic, coming from someone who had given up on his first career and was now living a second life. But I had to say it for Charles's sake. And so, the end of the year was approaching. Our company had its traditional year-end party. I loved these company-wide parties. Back in my lab, we never had gatherings like this. If there was time to drink and party, it was better spent pushing our research and advancing our papers. However, as a student, I had wonderful memories of year-end parties with friends. These company parties brought those memories back. Almost everyone from the main office, including the president, attended, making it a large gathering. But it was fun to talk with so many people. Christopher, you're actually super smart. You have all the product information memorized, and you're so quick with calculations. When clients ask for numbers, you answer instantly. It's like you're a supercomputer. I've always wondered why there's such a big gap in knowledge between us, even though we started at the same time. A tipsy Charles said this to me. Then, other seniors nodded in agreement. I've always been good at math, but I can't write kanji, I'm bad at history, and I'm a terrible singer. I tried to laugh it off nervously. But Nancy interrupted. Christopher, are you good at math? I'll give you a problem to solve. Let's make a bet. If you can't solve it, well, how about you quit the company as a penalty? Everyone's buzz disappeared in an instant. They all exchanged worried glances. But I listened to her seriously. Even though she was drunk, I saw her offer as an opportunity. I don't mind, but if it's a bet, you need to have a penalty too, Nancy. She replied confidently. If you solve it, I'll do anything you say. She looked so sure of herself, as if there was no way she could lose. Seeing her face, I felt a spark of my old passion returning. I remembered the days when I dreamed of achieving great things as a researcher and winning prestigious awards. Everyone watched as Nancy wrote the equation on the whiteboard, prepared for the bingo game. She was diligently copying numbers and symbols from her phone, but her style revealed that she wasn't good at math. It looked awkward. After finishing the equation and question, she turned around with a flourish. Everyone, this is a problem from a past Harvard science entrance exam. The success rate was only 2%, a problem designed to fail students. Now, Christopher, a high school graduate, will solve it for us. With a smug smile, she handed me the black marker, saying, "Good luck." I never expected her to pull out a past Harvard exam question. I stood in front of the whiteboard, feeling the tension in the air. I could feel the president's worried gaze on me, but I couldn't rely on him now. This was my challenge to face. By the way, Christopher will quit the company if he can't solve this problem. Everyone, cheer him on in this moment of crisis. Nancy's words caused a stir. The president started to say something, but I stopped him. "Boss, I'm not running away today." It took me 3 seconds to find the answer. Actually, I already knew the answer because, long ago, I had solved this exact problem on a past Harvard University entrance exam. "Christopher, I think you've overcome a lot of hardships," the president said to me after I finished the problem. By hardships, he didn't mean giving up on being a researcher. He was referring to a specific event that led me to give up on my research career. When I entered graduate school and was finally able to devote myself to my long-desired research, I met a woman. Her name was Maria Anderson. She was a student at the music department of New York University's Arts Division, majoring in piano. If Harvard is the top academic institution in the US, then its Arts Division is the pinnacle of the arts. Young people with artistic talents from all over the country gathered there. I first met her at a piano bar. A friend had taken me there, and that's where I heard her play for the first time. Even though I had no musical knowledge or background, I was intimidated by the unfamiliar bar atmosphere and the stylish clientele. But as soon as the performance began, those feelings vanished. I felt a sense of vitality. It hit me then that there are people with truly amazing talents in this world. After that, I went to the piano bar to listen to Maria's performances every time. She noticed me too, and one day she spoke to me. "You always come to listen to my performances, don't you? And you seem to enjoy them more than anyone else. Thank you." She showed her gratitude, which caught me off guard. I had a biased view that people with great artistic talent would be more arrogant. I thought that if you have the power to entertain and captivate the public, it's okay to be a bit selfish. In fact, her performances were worth that much. "No, I should be the one thanking you. Because of you, I've been feeling very fulfilled lately." She laughed and said, "That's an exaggeration." This marked the beginning of a deeper relationship between Maria and me. Amazingly, Maria had been learning piano since she was 2 years old. I certainly wasn't thinking about wanting to do research at age 2. I realized that artists are born to be artists. Despite our different backgrounds, upbringing, and innate talents, there was love and trust between us. I always thought that someone smart enough to get into Harvard wouldn't listen to music. That's not true. I respect people with artistic talent. It's something I don't have. Plus, I'm researching things that don't exist in this world yet. When I listen to your music, I feel like I can do that. Maria gave a sad smile at this. "Thank you. The only people who ever say that are you and my grandma." "Your grandma?" I asked, surprised. "Yes, she always praised my piano playing. My mom is strict and never praised me. But thanks to her, I continued playing. She passed away last year." "I'm sorry to hear that. But now I have someone else who praises my piano, so I can keep going." Apparently, Maria was considering quitting the piano at this time. Even though she got into the university, she was surrounded by exceptional talents from all over the country. Seeing the ceiling of her abilities, she had lost all her confidence. After that, her piano playing became even more magnificent. Her music had a strength and a healing quality that filled me with energy just by listening. I thought there was no one else in the world who could play like Maria. She won the university's piano competition and aimed for international contests. I was thrilled about her success. It was the first time I felt so happy about someone else's achievement, as if it were my own. Meeting her brought color to my previously dull, research-focused life. Maria quit her job at the piano bar and dedicated all her time to practicing. Meanwhile, I finished my master's program and was deciding whether to pursue a PhD. This led to a conflict with my parents. They wanted me to consider my future and join a major corporation. I was nearing 30, and they were right. Most people would get a job after finishing their masters. I understood that developing industrial products at a big company's lab would be more lucrative than uncertain research. If I failed to produce results, I'd end up with nothing. The world of research is similar to that of artists. No matter how good you are, if you don't succeed, it doesn't matter. However, I didn't want to give up on my dream of winning a prestigious award with my research. Maybe it was thanks to Maria's inspiration. I am going to pursue a PhD. Of course, you can stop the financial support. I'll manage on my own from now on. Thank you for supporting me until now. I thanked to my parents. They didn't say anything, but I could feel their profound disappointment. Fortunately, I have a younger brother who aims to be a doctor and just graduated with honors from a prestigious medical school this year. He will surely become a great doctor and make our parents proud. Just think of it as if you only ever had one son, I said. It might be the worst thing for a parent to hear, but I had already committed to this path with no turning back. I finally understood why untalented street musicians keep singing in front of crowds despite the mockery. I vowed that I would not lose. Maria and I couldn't see each other as often, but knowing we were both pursuing our dreams made it less lonely. In fact, it felt like our bond grew stronger. When we talked on the phone, I felt like none of our conversations were wasted. I came to believe we were a perfect couple, united by our dreams. One day, I met Maria after a long time. She seemed to have lost a lot of weight. She was always slender, but being a pianist required physical strength. She used to have a certain robustness despite her slimness. But now, Maria looked like a sick person. Unfortunately, my intuition was correct. She collapsed during practice and was taken to the hospital. Maria was diagnosed with acute leukemia, a terrible disease. Known as a blood cancer, this disease rapidly destroys young cells. She quickly lost her vitality to the disease and became bedridden. Despite this, I never doubted that she would recover. Decades ago, the survival rate for this disease was less than 20%, but modern medicine has advanced. The probability of dying should be lower now. Maria started her battle with the disease, and I prayed every day for her swift recovery. But one year end, Maria passed away at the young age of 25. However, even in a world without her, I continued my research desperately. I couldn't stop, even though the beloved light was gone. Days passed with no results, just time slipping away. Then, one day, I felt everything was in vain. "You have no luck? Give it up already," my professor said, patting me on the shoulder. The words, "no luck," shattered my spirit. To think that the reason my efforts were unrewarded was due to luck, how cruel. It was too easy to destroy everything I had built up. None of my peers cared about my departure. My mind snapped back to the year-end party venue. Charles ran up to me. "This is incredible. I don't understand a thing written here, but I know it's amazing. Who are you, Christopher?" Seeing his sparkling eyes, I was reminded of Maria. I felt a sudden urge to hug him, but that would create other issues, so I restrained myself. "Hold on, it's too soon to celebrate. We haven't confirmed if the answer is correct yet." Then, a voice came from the back. "I think it's correct. I encountered that problem while studying for the entrance exam. Of course, I gave up on it because it's unsolvable." Applause erupted from everyone surrounding me. It felt strange to be praised so much just for solving an entrance exam problem. "Quiet, we haven't confirmed the answer yet." I looked at her and said, "I'm confident it's correct. I've solved this problem before." I never forget the problems I've solved, especially during an entrance exam. You had bad luck picking this one, Nancy. What do you mean you solved it during an entrance exam? Finally, the president, who had been silent until now, spoke. Christopher graduated top of his class from Harvard. Top of the class? What does that mean? It means he's the best student at Harvard, Nancy. Charles explained calmly. Nancy, speechless, was quickly interrupted by Charles. That's not true. Each department at Harvard has different subjects, so there's no single top student. But several people have said that to me. It led me to pursue research, and here we are. I smiled sheepishly, trying not to seem too full of myself. Don't be so modest. You're incredible. I've thought you were amazing from the start, Christopher. I love you, man. Charles exclaimed, hugging me in excitement. I felt a bit conflicted. So, I'll continue working here. I don't mind taking on any task, but I hope Nancy will trust her team more. You did say you'd do anything, so that's my only request. Charles, still hugging me, chimed in. Come on, that's too easy. She needs to take responsibility for her words. I think a funny joke wouldn't hurt. A funny joke? If I do that, will you all acknowledge me? Nancy asked seriously. Maybe as a new department head. She was struggling with being accepted and didn't know how to connect with her team, which made her come off as intimidating. If she was caught in this cycle of losing trust, we needed to break it. If Nancy does a funny joke, then Charles and I will do one too. Finally, Charles released me. Don't drag me into this mess. What are you talking about? You're the one who brought up a funny joke in the first place. You have to take responsibility for what you say. With that, Nancy downed a bottle of beer in one go. All right, let's do this. We'll decide the order by rock, paper, scissors. Her face was flushed, and her eyes were glassy from the alcohol. Charles, this is a moment where you need to take responsibility as a man, I said seriously to him. The party turned into an uproarious joke competition, the likes of which we had never seen before, but everyone was so hungover the next day that no one remembered a thing. As the new year began and work resumed, we heard about Nancy's demotion. She was removed from her position as head of the sales department and transferred to the general affairs department as a regular employee. One of the seniors was promoted to take her place, and we started working under the new structure. I couldn't hide my surprise and went to the president to ask what had happened. Apparently, Nancy herself had requested to step down. Nancy has her reasons. Let me be clear, it's not because of you. Please don't pity her. She has a lot of pride. It was unfortunate, as I thought we were finally starting to build a trustful relationship. But the president was right. And with her gone, everyone, including Charles, seemed to lack the same drive. That's kind of anticlimactic. We shared funny jokes together, after all. Charles said, looking disappointed. His expression didn't resemble Maria at all. Why did he remind me of her at that moment? Maybe because it was the anniversary of her death. I wondered what face she would have made if she had been there. Whether she would have laughed or smirked at my funny joke. Either way, Maria would have been relieved, seeing me moving forward and getting back on my feet. A few months later, members of the lab where I once worked won the Nobel Prize. It was a groundbreaking discovery that turned the world's common knowledge upside down, made by American researchers. This news seemed to lift the spirits of a depressed US society a bit. The press conference footage played for days. In the past, I might have thrown the TV in frustration, but now I felt nothing. It's not that my passion had completely cooled. It's just that I now believe my contributions weren't in vain. It's like music. Because I played one measure, it connected to the next. Researchers continue to play their short melodies, leading up to groundbreaking discoveries. Even after more than 10 years, I can still hear Maria's music. And I will continue to live with her melody forever. Always, always, until the day we meet again.